Hello, you guys. Welcome to this new edition of Lectio Musica, the place for great lyrics, great music, and great meaning. My name is Guilain Prince. I'm a Franciscan friar from Canada, and I love rock music for a long time, especially hard rock, metal, and prog. Once a week, I stop by like this to listen to a new song for me, and I react. I react to it naturally as I can. After that, I do a small analysis of the song because this is my field of work, the analysis of text. I'm a specialist of Jewish and Christian scriptures. And I make comment out loud, but be careful. I don't consider myself as the definitive opinion on the words. In fact, quite the opposite. I consider myself as the starting point of a beautiful discussion happening right here in the comment section of every video. Please don't come only to listen to my videos. Go down and read. And I love to put videos in the first positions because I think they are extremely interesting, and most of the time the people don't agree with me, and I still post them in the first place. Why? Because I want to understand. I don't want to be correct in everything. I don't want to be perfect. I just want to start a beautiful discussion about a beautiful song, great lyrics, great meaning, and great music. So, this week we begin with this song here called Song of Myself. This is the 20th of a 24 songs journey. Now, every video I make these days have three sections. First, you will be witnessing my natural reaction to a song. Okay, good. Second, you will read and see a small analysis of the lyrics of the song. You will see a blue window for Nightwish and other colors for other band. Gray blue window like this one. This is the analysis. Third, I will react to a live performance of the same song. So go directly to the section you are interested in. The small bar you have at the bottom of every video, you know that you can go exactly where you want. If you're interested in the lyrics of the second verse, go directly to the lyrics of the second verse. You will see them up here in the window. And the song, a song from myself, is from the album Imaginarium or Imaginarum. I learned lately it's an Imaginarum. I made the mistake before. The 12th song of the album. There's only one song after that one. Never heard any version of it to my knowledge. If I heard that song, I will tell you. I'll be totally transparent and frank about it. So I haven't seen any videos. I'm sure of that. I think I don't know the song, but we will see. Maybe I heard it somewhere, especially because I'm a great fan of the album of Nightwish called Showtime Storytime. I've been listening to it every month, I think for 2-3 years. So sometimes the titles, I don't know the title because I listen to the song in my car or going somewhere. But to be really totally attentive to a song, I'm not sure. So sometimes I see the title, I don't remember the song. But when I hear it, sometimes it happens. Oh yeah, I've heard that song. So it might happen this time. I don't know. We will see, because the live video will be from Wacken. So let's go immediately to the video of the song. Remember, it's the original version of the song from the studio album Imaginarium. So the singer is Anat Olzan with a Z and not Olson like I thought in the first videos. We will listen to it. We will look at the lyrics. After that, we will do the analysis of the song. Let's go. In 3, 2, 1. Doesn't sound familiar to me. This sounds familiar. I remember that song. But this one is the first time. A kidnap in the ghost town of my heart. She dreams of story time and then with a ghost of mermaids of Whitman's and the ride. Raving Harley Quinn's gigantic toy. Hello again, friends. The face I had while listening to the previous version with the lyrics. I could not stand the compression. And after reading the comment of one of you on my channel, I went and listened few bits, maybe 5 seconds of the original recording from Nightwish. And what I suspect is true. The person who made the lyric video had the idea of compressing the sound to a level that is I could not believe it was Nightwish doing that. It's so bad. I could not stand the song as it was, as I could hear it. Now, you won't have the word on the video, but we will listen together to a proper version, correctly balanced, beautifully. I listened to the especially the symphonic section, and it's perfect. So let's do that again in 3, 2, 1. This is beautiful. Yep. Now I will have a happy smile. As for the lyrics, look in the analysis section. Everything's perfect. Not this version though, first time. 4e section, Amour.
I see a slow, simple youngster by a busy street, with a begging bowl in his shaking hand, trying to smile but hurting him infinitely. Nobody notices. I do but walk by. An old man gets naked and kisses a model doll in his attic. It's half light and he's in tears. When he finally comes, his eyes are cascading. I see a beaten dog in a pungent alley. He tries to bite me. All pride has left his wild, drooling eyes. I wish I had my leg to spare. A mother visits her son, smiles to him through the bars. She's never loved him more. An obese girl enters an elevator with me, all dressed up fancy, a green butterfly on her neck. Terribly sweet perfume deafens me. She's going to dinner alone. That makes her even more beautiful. I see a model's face on a brick wall, a statue of porcelain perfection beside a violent city kill. A city that worships flesh.
The first thing I ever heard was a wandering man telling his story. It was you, the grass under my bare feet, the campfire in the dead of the night, the heavenly black of sky and sea.
It was us, roaming the rainy roads, combing the gilded beaches, waking up to a new gallery of wonders every morn, bathing in places no one's seen before, shipwrecked on some matte-painted island, clad in nothing but the surf, beauty's finest rose.
Beyond all mortality we are, swinging in the breath of nature, in the air of the dawn of life, a sight to silence the heavens.
I want to travel where life travels, following its permanent lead, where the air tastes like snow music, where grass smells like fresh-born Eden. I would pass no man, no stranger, no tragedy or rapture. I would bathe in a world of sensation, love, goodness, and simplicity.
While violated and imprisoned by technology.
The thought of my family's graves was the only moment I used to experience true love. That love remains infinite.
As I never be the man my father is.
How can you just be yourself when you don't know who you are? Stop saying, I know how you feel. How could anyone know how another feels?
Who am I to judge a priest, beggar, poor, politician, wrongdoer? I am, you are, all of them already.
Dear child, stop working. Go play. Forget every rule. There's no fear in a dream.
Is there a reality inside this snowflake?
A child asked me.
What's the color of our lullaby?
I've never been so close to truth as then I touched its silver lining.
Death is the winner in any war. nothing noble in dying for your religion,
For your country, for ideology, for faith, for another man. Yes.
Paper is dead without words, ink idle without a poem, all the world dead without stories.
Without love and the Sami beauty.
Careless realism costs souls.
Ever seen the Lord smile? All the care for the world made beautiful a sad man. Why do we still carry a device of torture around our necks? Oh, how rotten your pre-apocalypse is. All you Bible black fools living over nightmare ground. I see all those empty cradles and wonder if man will ever change. I too wish to be a decent man boy, but all I am is smoke and mirrors. Still, given everything, may I be deserving. And there forever remains that change from G to E minor.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Wow. Wow. I didn't expect that at all. Okay, the lyrics on Genius Lyrics were really not correctly presented. I will have to modify a little bit my presentation. It will take me just a few minutes. I'll be back with the analysis of the song and poem. There we are, back on track. So it was only few changes because the way that the lyrics were presented on the site, even if the site of Nightwish was not accurate, I had to make a few changes and everything is back and everything is okay now. So let's dig immediately in the lyrics. There we go. I want you to take good notes of the opening. Not the opening, the title of the first part. It is called From a Dusty Bookshelf. Okay. Of course, it represents, in a way, what we have musically. But I suggest very careful. I think this song is a celebration of books and poetry on self-understanding. And I will tell you why I understand it that way. Basically, for the poetic section of the spoken words that we have a little bit later. But for now, just take a note from a dusty bookshelf. Okay? Let's go. Second part. All that great heart lying still. It seems to me very poetic. I don't find this way of talking, and it's important that we again take note of that, since it will come back in the song, and it is not a common English to talk like this. All that great heart lying still. There's a construction, the way it is built. And let's say for now that this heart, big heart, lying still, inactive or on hold. Let's go further. First one. And I want to tell you something first. I will not explain every single word because it's a long song, but I will read carefully every word so that everyone has a translation in your own language. The nightingale is still locked in a cage. The deep breath I took still poisons my lungs. An old oak. Part 2. All that great heart lying still. Take good note of the name of this second section because it will be repeated. So, to me, it strikes me as being an unusual way of saying things. I think right from the start, it presents itself as a poem. And the structure is very poetic. All that great heart, everything of that big heart that holds so much, lying still, is lying there, still as if it was on hold. Or, on hold or inactive. Let's put it this way. But keep it in mind for now. And let's go immediately to the first verse. Now, I will not comment on every word in that song. Every word. Because it's a long song. But I will read all the words and comment just a little bit here and there. Okay? Let's go. First verse. The nightingale is still locked in a cage. The deep breath I took still poisons my lungs. An old oak sheltering me from the blue, sunbathing on its dead, frozen leaves. Nightingale, you know what is this little bird? Rossignol, we say in French. I don't know if it's the case in English, but the nightingale is a word we use in French, le rossignol, to talk about someone who sings. I wonder if it's a reference to someone who sings. I don't know. Is still locked in the cage. So, le rossignol est dans une cage. It is in the cage. It is imprisoned. And because of that, the deep breath I take are still poisons in my lung. It's a pain, excruciating pain, to see the nightingale in the cage. An old oak sheltering me from the blue. So there's a shadow above. The person is under the shadow of an oak. Sunbathing. If you are under the shadow, you're not sunbathing. So, on its dead frozen leaf, very cold in winter. So, is it the night? Is it the fact that if it's in the winter, the sun is very low on the horizon, so you are sunbathing, but you are still being covered. So you are in winter and in darkness. Do you see the picture? A catnap in the ghost town of my heart. She dreams of story time and the river ghosts, of mermaids, of Whitmans and the ride, raving harlequins, gigantic toys. Who is she? There's no she, and there's no her. There's nobody of female in that. So I suggest that it is a female nightingale. A siesta in the ghost town of my heart. Ghost town. My heart feels like a ghost town, but ghost town is already being used in another song of that album. I remember seeing that very clearly. And if not on that album, it's a previous album, the previous album. But anyways, Storytime, River Ghost, Mermaids, Whitman's Ride, Raving Eloquence. I'm pretty sure all of this are situations and or titles of songs, and why not both? Because I'm adamant, I'm absolutely sure that all the songs of Nightwish, they come from one heart, except one or two exceptions. And it is clear to me at this point that every song has an emotional context. They really they tell something of what happened in somebody's heart. And of course, it's the composer and writer, Thomas. So both is saying that the nightingale female still dreams of the songs. I'm not sure she dreams of I'm not sure she dreams of the emotional state, the songs they were talking about. Anyways, the female nightingale is, it can be many things. You already know that Thomas has used the idea of a boy to talk about a part of himself. We saw also in Amaranth an untouched and a place in his heart untouched. Is he talking about a place in his heart untouched, or that should be singing but doesn't sing anymore, doesn't want to sing anymore, feel in a prison? That's you to know that, okay? For you to know. The next verse. A song of me, a song in need of a courageous symphony. A verse of me, a verse in need of a pure heart singing me to peace. This song as being the means to peace. All about what's happening inside himself, but presented by different images. A me, song of me in need. Courageous symphony, maybe because it takes a lot of courage for the writer to express himself in a song. Now the choir, all that great heart lying still and slowly dying, all that great heart lying still on an angel wing. What would be the angel wing here? The language of the angel is pretty common to many songs. What is the angel wing? You know that it was written that he was lying under an oak. It's still sunbathing pretty much in winter on the leaves. Angel wing, does that refer to simple fact that he is lying on a cold winter ground? Cold winter ground. Children, they do angels in the snow by moving their hands and feet. So in the snow it prints an angel. Slowly dying, would that mean that he goes towards the cold? or being part of the cold ground. There are many ways to see that. That's beautiful. All that great heart lying still in silent suffering, smiling like a clown until the show has come to an end. What is left for encore is the same old dead boy's song, sung in silence. That great heart, it's a way, I think, for Thomas to describe what he feels his heart could have been. Okay? Still, in silent suffering, smiling like a clown, a false smile, while the clown himself can be, as you know, in a tragedy. Until the show has come to an end. The show, I don't think it refers specifically to a show in front of people, but the fact that his life is under the spot. It is in the spotlight, public eye, under the public eye. So he is smiling like a clown in front of the public eye, but whatever is left for the encore is the same old Dead Boys sound. You already know the Dead Boys sound. The Dead Boys poem, first song of Dark Passion Play, and sung in silence. You already know this. A midnight flight into Covington Woods, a princess and a panther by my side. These are territories I live for. I'd still give me everything to love you more. I don't know exactly what would be the meaning of this. But here is my understanding. I see in Thomas's writing so many references to nature, forest, extremely positive. His love for the creation in general. Covington Woods, I don't know what it refers to. I should have looked at it. But for me, it's a combination of the wood, the forest imagery, with something related to literature again. There is a literary wood that refers probably to the young man growing in a small village surrounded by woods. So for me, there is something of the beautiful imaginary environment, or this environment that you experienced as a child, but now you gave it, you used to give it a magical, poetic value. I would finish there for now, but maybe you'll be able to tell me what is Covington Woods. So a midnight flight here is probably going in the woods during the night. And as you know, in the north, the night is the day is the night, because it's dark when it's supposed to be the daylight. A princess and a panther by my side. He was not alone. And of course, when we know the story of Nightwish, we know that the three founders of Nightwish, woman, two young boy, Empu, Thomas, and Tarja. I don't know, but it makes sense to think that as they were young, they were going to this poetic forest and magical forest. These are the territories I live for, not I lived for. So friendship and escaping in nature with a magical touch, poetic touch. I live for that today. I still give my everything to love you more. Is it addressed to himself? I'll let you think about this. You know that, slowly dying on an angel wing. All that great heart lying still. Oh, we already did this already. Here comes the very powerful, I would say, slower beat, tempo, called Piano Black. What is Piano Black for you in your country, in your language? But the Piano Black is a color, but it refers to something. A color is the very deep dark of many pianos with a lot of varnish, so there's a lot of reflection out of it. It's very deep, so dark, it could be a way to say deep darkness. Okay, I would put it that way. Piano Black could refer also to the fact that the piano is closed, that the piano doesn't play anymore. The words: a silent symphony, a hollow opus 1, 2, 3. Sometimes the sky is piano black over cleansing water. Resting pipes, verse of bore, rusting keys without a door. Sometimes the within is piano black over cleansing waters. So it is a color. The within and the sky is piano black. Deep darkness, a silent symphony. So the symphony is there, but not being played. Something hollow, creux, empty, emptiness, blackness, emptiness. Piano black over cleansing waters. When you are in darkness, camping or whatever, you can be in total darkness and still hear a river. Cleansing water. Does that mean that this silence, this emptiness, this darkness is there, but there is something cleansing in the background? That would be my take on this one. Resting pipes, verse of bore. Rusting keys. Keys, what keys? The keys to open a door? Yeah, but what about the keys of a piano? The keys are rusty because they are not played anymore. Like the pipes, they are resting. There is something being written, like an hollow opus. There is a verse of bore. There's nothing in these verses. The opus are empty. Empty of what? Of what was there before that would trigger the music, the creative jump of the composer. Sometimes the within is piano black. is empty. You already know that line. And then part 4, love. Remember the title. Out of a dusty shelf. Love. Love of what? How love comes after emptiness and darkness. I see a slow, simple youngster by a busy street with a begging bowl in his shaking hand, trying to smile but hurting infinitely. Nobody notices. I do, but walk by. You get it? I think you have different characters in the poetry. I think the characters, there are at least 2-3 men, a boy and a woman. I think that the separation of these, I would say, verses or section of poems are in fact quotes from books, dusty books on a bookshelf. I think that what this tells us is with books, I was able to understand what was happening. And here are some elements of that. But maybe he feels like the little boy. Or maybe he noticed the little boy, but walked by. I'll let you judge of that. An old man gets naked and kisses a model doll in his attic. It's half light and he's in tears. When he finally comes, his eyes are cascading. Loneliness, doll, probably the memory of someone you lost. Great sadness. The attic here suggests that it happens in a hidden place, behind the curtain or away from the spotlight. I see a beaten dog in a pungent alley. He tries to bite me. All pride has left his wild, drooling eyes. I wish I had my leg to spare. Again, is he the drooling dog? Or is he the one who would like to give his leg to the dog? I'll let you the judge of that. A mother visits her son, smiles to him through the bars. She's never loved him more. So, the son is behind bars. Who is the Nightingale that you have at the beginning? But even if the son is a criminal, or appears to be a criminal, the mother loves him even more. Does that remind you another song? Yeah, Dead Poets poem. Dead Boys poem. I was about to say Dead Poets Society, but it was a nice lapsus, because there is something of the Dead Poet Society here. It's very nice. It opens a door on the beauty of poetry to express true life, the substance of life. An obese girl enters an elevator with me, all dressed up fancy, a green butterfly on her neck. Terribly sweet perfume deafens me. she's going to dinner alone. That makes her even more beautiful. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Did you see that the atmosphere changed with that beauty in where some people don't see the beauty? The perfume that makes me deaf. I love these expressions. And she's going alone. Her loneliness makes it even more beautiful. In fact, it makes her even more beautiful to the eye of the person who sees her. The beauty of loneliness. I see a model's face on a brick wall, a statue of porcelain, perfection beside a violent city kill. A city that worships flesh. I remind you many times, city images of being more or less positive in his writing. Probably because the countryside is so beautiful to him. The first thing I ever heard was a wandering man telling his story. It was you, in the grass under my bare feet, the campfire in the dead of the night, the heavenly black of sky and sea. It was us, roaming the rainy roads, combing the gilded beaches, walking up to a new gallery of wonders every morn, bathing in places no one's seen before, shipwrecked on some matte-painted highland, clad in nothing but the surf, beauty's finest robe. These are abstracts of I think they are abstracts of books, but the selection is wonderful. It's beautiful what it says, and in a way, it tells a story of its own just by the way the pieces are juxtaposed. We say that juxtaposé in French. I once saw all images saying beautiful things. The fact that the grass, the campfire, the heavenly black is us. So it's a commonality of living all these things, but it's us together. In a way, you can be there in all these places all by yourself. And they are probably great already. But the fact that you live all these things with someone else makes it grand, makes it even larger. Yeah. I love this expression of combing the gilded beach, because when we walk side by side on a beach, we make like traces of a comb. I know that. I've experienced that. I don't know if it's the meaning of it, but this is the evocation for me is there. Bathing in water with nothing else but the surf. It's a beauty in the finest robe. Beyond all mortality, we are swinging in the breath of nature, in early air of the dawn of life, a sight to silence the heavens. The beauty of nature that will silence the heavens, I like that. As if there was such beauty in our surroundings that everything would stop, even in heaven. It's also an ode to the greatness of the us, the fact that we are loving each other, and this brings us to another level of life, which is beyond all mortality. We become eternal when we love. That's to me, these passages are gorgeous. I want to travel where life travels, following its permanent lead, where the air tastes like snow music, where grass smells like fresh-born Eden. I would pass no man, no stranger, no tragedy or rapture. I would bathe in a world of sensation, love, goodness, and simplicity. I want to travel where life travels. I want to be where life is. To be always under its permanent lead. And snow music. What is snow music? Music from the cold or music from whiteness? And I think it's the second one I told you, because where grass smells like fresh-born Eden, like very fresh and new. So that's why I think the previous. I would pass no man. You remember the passage where it was written that he passes in front of a beggar. Here, I would pass no man. Each man would have its time. I would have time for each of them, which you don't have in a show. You don't have in the city, but on the countryside, yeah. Remotely in the woods, when you meet someone, oh yeah, you have time. I would bathe in a world of sensation. Yeah, completely exposed by love, goodness, and simplicity. The life of someone is very complicated because, as an artist, you need the city. You need the crowds. And everything is complicated. Shows postponing, changing schedule. It can be endless. The city is complicated to the village, the countryside boy. I would bathe in a world of sensation, love, goodness with a capital G, and simplicity with a capital S, while being violated and imprisoned by technology. Technology of recording, yeah, but the technology of the shows, of everything involved. And I want you to notice the word violated, because it's a very powerful word that you had in Dead Boy's poem. What is the violation here? I'll let you think about this. The thought of my family's graves was the only moment I used to experience true love. That love remains infinite, and I'll never be the man my father is. Yeah, the previous generation are here presented as being a generation of giving, of generosity. Maybe a little bit of courage behind the word, I'll never be the man my father is, not my father was. So the still living father is so much greater than me. Why? Why? I think you can find an answer in the song itself. The love remains infinite. You see, it brings back the idea of love being immortal, infinite. So does that mean that his father loves far better than he does? Or what would be the understanding? And of those who preceded him, so they gave birth to sons and daughters? Is that the core of what is written here? Giving children to the world? How can you just be yourself when you don't know who you are? Stop saying, I know how you feel. How could anyone know how another feels? Yeah, I wonder, I'd be very much interested to read this selection of text. Which one is from whom? Where do they come from? And I think we would find some of these texts, we don't know the author. We cannot find a book on the dusty shelves with that content. I think we would find the words, some like this, some like these, on paper in Thomas's home. I think this is exactly what he thinks. If it's not him, it's a very well found and appropriate text for all those who came to him after whatever happened and telling him, I know how you feel. Oh, I hate that. Just be yourself. What I call the slogans of probably good, well-intentioned people, but the one receiving these words might find them inappropriate. I think that's what it says here. Let's continue. Who am I to judge a priest, beggar, whore, politician's wrongdoer? I am, you are, all of them already. But at the same time, beware, because those people, maybe they were a priest, a beggar, or a politician who said that to him, or to me, they look like they're not doing good things. Who I am to judge in a way, but I am. You are all of them already. All these people that you are tempted to judge, and I think you have a beautiful hint here. That the priest, the beggar, the whore that you have in another that boy's poem, the politician you might have in other experiences and or song, the wrongdoers may be. Don't judge too fastly, too hastily, because you are them as well. Dear child, stop working, go play, forget every rule. There's no fear in a dream. This is gorgeous. Is it the mother saying, I love you infinitely, just go and play? But here play is a beautiful play on word. Go and play. Forget every rule, contracts, forget every what you should do, what you are supposed to be bound to do. There's no fear in it. Live your dream. Live your dream. Nightwish. Is there a village inside this snowflake? A child asked me. What's the color of our lullaby? I already commented on this because we have this very idea that the snowflake could be a universe on which there is a village. Remember that? Yeah. When the child asked me, what's the color of our lullaby? When the child asked that, this is the moment that he was absolutely true to himself. I've been so close to truth. I've never been so close to truth as then. I touch its silver lightning, silver bolt, striking light, creativity. Death is the winner in any war. Nothing noble in dying for your religion, for your country, for ideology, for faith, for another man? Yes. There's a deception here. Yeah. Dying for your country in a war. You know that he did his military service. For any ideology. For religions. But for another man, yes. It makes sense for another man. So, no nobility to be courageous, defending a religion, giving your life for a religion, a country, an ideology, a faith. But for someone else's, yes. Paper is dead without words, ink idle without a poem. All the world dead without stories, without love and disarming beauty. The world without stories, love and beauty is a dead world. Careless realism costs soul. I don't know who wrote that line, but this is great. Sometimes people, they call on lucidity to tell the truth in a very harsh way. But lucidity without care will kill. Truth without care will kill. Also. Ever seen the Lord smile? All the care for the world made beautiful a sad man? Why do we still carry a device of torture around our necks? Oh, how rotten you pre-apocalypses, all your Bible black fools living over nightmare grounds. I love this part of the poem, or this section of poems, because I tend to agree with it in a way. Here it is. I am so sick of all those pictures where the Lord is all grave and all, as if it was the best representation of the Lord in all situations. Of course, in front of his life, nobody would be yuppie, yeo, but it doesn't mean that the Lord only was into that energy, that way of behaving. Now, all the care of the world made beautiful a sad man. I don't think that the Lord was a sad man. I think that those making pictures about the Lord were very sad men, or they thought that the Lord was a sad man, but I don't think the Lord was a sad man at all. In fact, I have a whole session on the humor of Jesus as it is in the scriptures themselves. But why do we still carry a device of torture around our neck? Of course, the cross, I totally agreed, it's a good question, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad answer. The cross, for me, is the gift of total love. It is beautiful because of the love of the one who gave his life for others. By this, what I'm saying is that the previous paragraph is saying giving his life for someone else's, for another man. It makes sense. Well, this is what I believe the Lord did. So, but I agree that some of the context, the images we have of all this makes people so grim. Exactly how you view Bible, black fools living over nightmare ground, because your present life is so bad, is so sad. Your present life doesn't have any jump in it, doesn't have any happiness in it. I agree with that. I agree with that text. I feel that sometimes we put the Christians, they put all their eggs in the same basket, as if everything has to be cross-related in a certain way, but not on the other way. The other way is that the cross is coherent with the rest of his care, the rest of his life, of his giving love, generosity. So for me, this makes much more sense. How rotten your pre-apocalypse is. Your life before the apocalypse is so rotten. Yeah, I agree. It's a very grim and dark and something, but I think this is what some Christians are. I don't think this is the nature of Christianism, for example. Not at all. I think that the nature of Christianism is bringing love and beauty into that world. But that's my opinion. Sorry about this. It's just to say how I agree with that. Even if I am a believer, I don't feel that this is aiming at me at all. I see all those empty cradles and wonder if man will ever change. I too wish to be a decent man boy, but all I am is smoke and mirrors. Still given everything, may I be deserving? This is the final is absolutely great. The empty cradles. What are the empty? The fact that there are no children? Or the fact that I'm not fruitful? Or maybe because the children died? Something is missing. Something is missing. And I wonder, if man will ever change, man will always produce, partly at least, empty cradles. And they will never change. But some of us might change that, okay? I too wish to be a decent man boy. You have a clear indication of who is the boy in the Dead Boys poem. It is a man who wished to keep the boy part of him truly alive. But all I am is smoke and mirrors. All I am is smoke from something that will disappear, and mirrors because everything reflects my own image. Still given everything. Yeah, well, our world really carries very high the egos of some people and give everything to some very big egos. But am I deserving all of this? It's self-understanding at its highest level for me. And there forever remains that change from G to E minor. I don't know if you're aware, but when I play an E minor on a guitar, if I am in a scale or in tonality of E minor, I play the exact same chords of G. I'm in G, I will use the D, I will use the A. The only difference is that when the resolution chord is E minor, this song will be in minor. And traditionally in Western music, the minor modes are those expressions, melancholia, sadness, and those in G are expressing very often more uplifting and happy moods. It's not always the case, you have to know, but I would say generally speaking, okay? You got that? So from G to E minor, from happiness to sadness in musical term. In terms of music, it's a complex composition to the level of I would say the biggest ones. But there are two parts in the song. I would say a very normal Nightwish great quality song on one side. And then there's this collection of poems, and they come together into, and then you have a soundtrack. Never forget, there's a soundtrack behind that. And I think that Thomas loves to build soundtracks from words of others. Never forget the side B of Human Nature. Only a few words at the beginning, few words at the end, and in the middle, only few titles. But he puts into music the words of others. When his own words are not able to express everything he wants to say, he will take the words of others. Hence, this song. It's a long musical piece, including instrumental section, a long poem with 5 movements, or maybe it's better in this case to say parts, with different ambiances and moods. So musically, it's a rich piece of music instrumentally, and I would say there's a song and there are poems on music, or poems in music. In terms of lyrics now, never forget that it's from a dusty bookshelf. There is inside the heart or the head of someone. It's about myself. The poet is talking about himself. But all thought and images are passing through, they are pictures, frozen frames, we say also, of certain moods and atmosphere that the person lives within. But the person, these frames of his heart at one moment, well, they find an echo in literature, poetry or whatever he read, on a dusty shelf. The power of poetry, the power of literature for self-disclosure, to recognize in echo what I have in my heart, and even understand myself, a topic we already saw in story time. The song is about myself. The title is clear. It's a reflexive poem about the state of heart and soul in moments in time. So we have a transitional state and a very unpleasant now. But this unpleasant now is between a happy childhood and an unknown future. There's a wish to bring something of the happiness and innocence of my childhood into my present and my future. There's a wish, there's an expectation in that song. With a sense of interruption and unfinished business and unaccomplishment, what is it that I worth? This unpleasant present is, what is my true worth? Because worth, or the value, seems to be connected with the previous state, as son, father, children state. There was a lot of value in that. In the present, very little value to the writer's eye. And the present, he wants to go back, but he wants also to go forward. He doesn't want to stay in that state. He wants to go forward. So there's a wish to heal or to warm up, to go forward, to leave something that was, what was a source of happiness, but now it might be a source of regret and even maybe regression at time. Okay? That blocks the present and maybe the future. So something has to heal, because in If I don't heal, I'm stuck in something. I'm stuck in the mud, but I want to get out of it. Okay? It's not a song. I have so much appreciation of that song. You cannot believe, because this is not a song. When we read an author, there are different kinds of, there are little stories, there are little plots, and there's a larger work that he will do it in one of his, but sometimes the person will write what we call a meta text. Meta text is a text above the others, so important that it gives meaning to the rest of it. This song is a meta song. This is the one song you want to read to understand all the others. If you want to understand what is a ghost town, what is a ghost love score, what is a story time, what is the beauty of the beast, or the beauty and the beast. If you want to understand Nightwish, the very first song, if you want to understand everything, you read that song, you try to understand, and you will have a global vision of what this song, of what Thomas is all about, and what is Nightwish. What is Nightwish? Where you will have an idea of the whole creative journey of Nightwish by understanding that song. And all the repertoire of Nightwish will give you the keys to open that song, and that song will open all the stories of Nightwish. That's it, guys. Interested to listen to a live version of it? I think so. So let's not lose time anymore. And before the very final conclusion of my video, let's dig into this listening. So this song, I know the audio, haven't seen the video yet, so I will enjoy seeing back in 2013 of Song of Myself in 1, 2, 3.
Breath I took still poisons my lungs. An old oak sheltering me from the blue, sunbathing on its dead frozen blue.
Oh, what a beautiful costume.
Me,
before he begins the sentence. Piano Black. So effective. Cleansing waters in the dark. Rusting keys without a door. Ah. Oh, okay. It ends here. Okay. So there's the whole the whole section of the poetry is not there. Oh, that's our loss. Oh, I understand though, because here the song is over 30 minutes, 13, and here it's 6:58 for the show. That means there is 6 minutes of poetry and instrumental. We already know in Ghost Love Score there's a very important instrumental section in the middle. I understand why they didn't keep it for the shows. Few words. First of all, let me take my list of the songs that I will do in the coming months, the coming weeks especially. I did from Imaginarium Storytime, I Want My Tears Back, Song of Isaiah. Okay. When I look at the album Dark Passion Play, okay, I love Annette on Dark Passion Play. Now, I haven't listened to the whole album Imaginarium. I will. For now, these 3 songs that I reacted to: Storytime, I Want My Tears Back, Song of Myself. I don't like Annette's voice on Imaginarium that as much as I like her on Dark Passion Play. Don't get me wrong. I said that I Want My Tears Back. I love her contribution in the verses. It's just that in the choruses, I don't like her as much. I think there it shows that her voice is a little bit thin. Same thing with Storytime, but globally it's good. It's very, very good. It's very good on the studio version we'll listen to, but I have to say that Dark Passion Play, I don't feel any loss. For me, it sounds perfect. It sounds great. And I love that album to a level that I will one day tell you. But for Imaginarium, until now, the 3 songs I've listened to, I like her, but I don't like her as much as I would love to, or as much as in the previous album. This being said, still the album is a marvel. I understand those of you who prefer or like very, very much the live version. I understand, and to a certain degree, I like it, and I understand as well. The only thing is that I love studio album when they are done like Nightwish's albums. Beautiful orchestration, arrangements, and everything. Never forget that Nightwish is designed as symphonic metal, and a good part of what makes Nightwish so beautiful is their capacity to bring all these instruments into one vision, okay? And this vision, to be effective in a show, they need recordings of other instruments in the background. They absolutely, because if you would only have the live band without the orchestration, you will clearly feel a loss. This being said, that doesn't mean that those songs, they are not of exceptional value, because I'm pretty sure that one day there will be other artists who will do Nightwish songs in an acoustic version, a little bit like Epica did with 1 or 2 of their songs. The acoustic version is as good as the metal version. We saw that with Nightwish doing Ours the Heart and one other song, only Floor and the music. Strong song, especially melodic, very highly melodic and poetic song. They can be sung by almost no instrumentation or acoustic instruments, and they will be as gorgeous as they are in metal. And one day a lot of people will discover Nightwish by an acoustic instrumental or instrumental version of their music. They will see how great this is great. So this song is an absolute smash to me. This is one of their very good songs. Even the first part itself is wonderful, wonderful. Thomas' poetry and musicianship is exceptional. Of course, the rendition in Wacken is exceptional as well. We all know how, already know how much I love Wacken, the concert. But the full song with the poetry becomes it's another level. We're talking about a meta song, the one song that will give you a global vision and understanding of their music. That's it for me. So let's just bring back this screen for now and end up our video. There it is for me as well. Next week we will finish our way through the album Imaginarium. Meanwhile, I will listen to the album. It will be Weak Fantasy from Endless Forms Most Beautiful. I know that many of you want me to react to that song because it seems that it talks about religion. Okay, I'll be there next week. Reaction analysis in English with subtitles in 7 languages. Find your own. Of the studio version with lyrics, and this week we made an exception. I couldn't stand that sound, and I will make sure that the sound of the lyric video is good before beginning a video about it. The analysis of the same song in reaction to the live version. The premiere will be as usual on Friday 1:30. Be there. Don't forget, you can subscribe and push the little red bell. As for now, it was a pleasure to go through that song with you. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Is the winner in any war. Nothing noble in dying for your religion,
for your country, for ideology, for faith, for another man.